have a big question relating to the red fire and a little bit off track from what we've been talking about. One of the things in the reading and the stuff that I'm typing up, a phrase was used relating to when the red fire was unleashed. And I think it was the time of the Trail of Tears and all of that. But they say that, they were mentioning that what had happened is that the red fire was unleashed, but then it was not taken back. And I understand conceptually what that means, but I'd really like to understand more.
Okay.
You
What's-
knew you were
what's the
going to
new
get the
saying?
questions going.
It's complicated.
I figured it was.
But it's really not that complicated. What complicates it is all the bullshit stories that have been created to justify doing away with the red fire. Remember, we had the chief. Okay, there was more than one chief. We all know that. Always was. But above them, if we were doing this in a, what do you call that, management scheme, above them is the red and white woman. Okay. So the chief and his boys come up with something. And they take it to the red woman or the white woman, depending on the fire. And she takes it to the women. And the women said, bullshit, no. It's no. It ain't happening. Yeah. It is not going any further than that. And so the chief comes back, tells people, ain't happening. Yeah. That's that.
Nope.
That became a great problem.
It's Tim Griffin. He never called. Is there something going on in there? Hello?
It became the making treaties. Not with each other, not with other Indian tribes, but with the colonies, which later became the United States. Because this guy can't sign nothing. He can't agree to anything. Anything he wants to do now has to go to the red chief, because it's the red fire, the red chief who deals with anyone or anything outside of the town or the tribe. Period. Bottom line, that's the way it works. Okay? The Brits figure this out pretty quick. That they can't get nothing done with Cherokee if they try going through this guy. They try several times. At one of their meetings,
Is
and
this
it
like the
was-
big chief, like Wilma or John Ross? Is that the big chief that you're talking about when you have the chief in the
Well,
box up there?
basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a chief for each town, and then the principal chief, who basically was, that's where you went when you had to have a meeting of all the chiefs. He didn't have any more authority or say than anyone else. And when it came to affairs outside the tribe, he had none. None. So, the British are trying to make this treaty with Little Carpenter. That was his name. Achasula Sula. Doesn't mean little carpenter. It means fine worker of wood. But it got translated as little carpenter. There's little isn't in there anywhere. But anyhow, that's what he's known as in history. There, we want this, blah, 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 blah. And every time they come to a stopping point, he says, wait here. I have to go ask my women. And he walks out of the treaty meetings and goes into the council house where the women are and says, okay, the Brits want this, 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 this. What do you think? And they take their time. And he comes back and says either yay or nay. And one of the Brits gets really frustrated. What the hell is the matter with you? Can't you do anything without your women? And his response is, well, don't you British have mothers? And apparently that meant a lot more to them back then than it does now, because they immediately understood it. Oh. And so they strike this treaty with Little Carpenter. And I don't even remember what it was. Nobody remembers what it was. It took them 2 weeks of doing this to get it done. And when they're done and they need Little Carpenter to put his signature, he tells them, can't do it. You have to go to talk to O'Connor. He's the Red Chief. And they're like, what? He said, yeah, you should have been talking to him all along. I tried to tell you, you wouldn't listen to me. That's who you need to talk to. And they said, well, aren't you the principal chief? He said, I am. But that comes under the red flag. And because they had dissed O'Connor so well, trust me, this treaty didn't fly. They had to make an entirely new one. Which ruined Cherokee culture forever because it gave too many steel and iron pots and pans to the women. It just ruined our lives forever. Should have kept them making their own pots, but as it was, just made life tough. So, that's the way that went for a while, and then the Americans won the revolution. When they won the revolution, they said, okay, things are going to go our way now. And so they came invading into Indian country where they had been forbidden to pass by the treaties with the English. And our Red Chief at the time basically that ain't happening. And he organized the first, what would be the word? It was the first time the Indians all got together to fight one enemy, alliance. Alliance of Tribes. And General Washington would have been president at this time. Sends General St. Clair to take the United States Army and go into Indian territory and wipe out the Indians. The result was the worst defeat in the history of the United States Army. dragging canoe, even though he died 2 years before this battle. It was his battle plan that was used. And depending on which account you read, somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of the United States Army was wiped out in that one battle. They had a treaty after that dragging canoe's successors were at to negotiate the terms. And I think it was the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But it was the first treaty that the United States of America made in its history. And it was with the Cherokees, the Red Fire, Watt and Doublehead, who succeeded in dragging canoe, dictated the terms of the treaty to the United States of America. This is how you will relate to us, blah, blah, blah. Because they were fully aware that the United States, to get the British to recognize them as a independent country, had to have a treaty with an independent country. And right here they got a good deal, because they got a treaty with about 5 countries that recognized them as existing. So therefore the Brits also recognized them, and the French. Anyway, they got recognition, nationhood status from this treaty. The problem comes very shortly after this.